Grand Rising family, we're back for part two of this, the culture of the so-called African American or Black folks in America. Sorry. Was explained in Genesis, okay? And now that we know that the earth in Genesis, more than likely most times, again, you have to use your own wisdom, knowledge, common sense, understanding, and logic, reason, all of these things to interpret that for yourself. But again, that is what a lot of the when you look in the concordance, that's what a lot of the um, I guess references are referring to when it's talking about the earth. Earth can stand for original inhabitants of a place or the original people of a place. Okay, so again, here we go with Genesis 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless, okay, and empty. So again, the earth was formless. So they could not control you. They could not amalgamate with you. They could not mix with you. They could not uh, get people to come here and be able to uh, uh, obtain land, okay, and wealth here. The first peoples, I believe, that were coming over here were being captured and taken in as a form of slaves, but it wasn't the same slavery that these people flipped it around and supposedly used it on you. Okay? At that time, when it came to this caste system or this abode of God or pyramid, everyone was included that was on the land. But again, at that point in time, everyone mostly were of the original people of that land. It wasn't until so-called colonization, okay, which is also cultivation, happened where some of these people started to be accepted, okay, into this realm, again, by force or by sneaking in, whatever they would do. Okay, this would be happening. And again, when it comes to South America, when it comes to certain groups there, again, when we talk about the Mocha Moshe people of that area that are pre-Mayan and Incan people, they were one of the groups that they had problems with here in the Americas mixing. Okay, they did not want to, and they went against it hard as anyone ever. Okay, but again, I believe some things happened, and they were finally able to do what they needed to do. Okay, so again, and we also know that the heavens, it just means a elevated status, a higher up. Even when you look at certain terms, it'll tell you that the heavens was the abode of God. Okay, and that's just like I said, a higher level of in the caste system, or of power. Some people might call these people the 1% or the elite today. These are the family lines that we're talking about in the Bible, right alongside with your people. But again, they are speaking of you in um, different terms that now we've been taught in school. Okay, they've dictated how we interpret these words. And so we've been deceived as to thinking these words simply mean what we've been told they meant, instead of doing our due diligence and obtaining more knowledge and being more knowledgeable about this subject and doing deeper research on these terms that are being used. Okay, so again, it was formless. Again, that meant that it was not having it. The people were not having it at that point in time. And darkness was on the surface of the deep, okay? And the Spirit of God was hovering or brooding over the waters. And God said, let there be light, and there was light, okay? So that is, even when we're talking about the Illuminati, I can't remember the Bavarian, um, something with what's his name? Y'all probably know what it is and you just yelling at the screen, but Wysop, I believe. Okay. And the Illuminati was founded or started, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know, 15 or 1600s. I can't remember. Okay. But anyhow, we see here that it says this account goes on to describe the 7 days God started creating. Okay. And that's kind of what it says in my other Bible, when he began to create. And then it says the first day light was created. The second day, um, again, and this could be possibly talking about, uh, but I'm still thinking it's a group of people. I can't remember who they were. I'm thinking like Vikings or something, but I know it's not. I don't think it is. That if you go and look up the first people to migrate or immigrate um, the Americas, there's a certain group of people that came here in 1000. Okay, so let's see. So that can be light, which would mean on a spiritual aspect. Okay. Or like I said, illuminating, Illuminati, bringing some form of light or whatnot. And it can also mean of appearance as well, But again, that's for you to decide. The second day, the sky was created. Okay. Um, the third day, dry land, seas, plants, and trees were created. The fourth day, the sun, the moon, and stars. The fifth day, creatures that live in the sea. Okay. And creatures that fly were created. Okay, so again, what type of seamen are we talking about? Are we talking about voyagers? Okay, are we talking about the oceanic types of people? Um, Again, you know, we can go different ways with this. But again, I believe that the creatures that fly in the sky are like the American eagle, possibly like these phoenix type looking birds that they're calling eagles that may not actually be eagles. When it comes to the emblems, the family crest, and different emblems that go with different lands, as far as like Spain, their coat of arms and things like that. Uh, okay, let's see. 6 day animals that live on the land. So these are the animals that live on the land. And finally, humans. Okay, so again, animals can be pertaining to people. It's just a certain group of people. Um, and then it says, made in the image of God were created. So finally, humans that were made in the image of God. So think about it as this: the Aborigines were here. Okay, darker hue people. Okay, other groups of people came in, mixed with some of those groups, and formed offspring or indigenous groups. Okay, uh, and then after the indigenous groups came through, you have your what they may call native groups, those that were planted here. Again, Native Americans can never be the originals, because native just means that they are born in a place, and that's why they adhered or were begot or beget in a certain place, or birthed. Okay, but then again, we always go back to the fact that a when a ship pulls up to the shore, it comes up to the dock and it births. Okay, and same way you go to the doctor and you give birth. All of this stuff has to do with uh, maritime law, admiralty law, even has to do with your straw man. Okay, if some of you are familiar with that. um, these are like I'm trying to tell you that these are like the things that we're really talking about, but they're hidden under certain things like legalese. This is something you may not completely understand when it comes to law, and all types of other things. Okay. And then God finished his work. Okay. So let's just go on and finish up with this term. And I think we were somewhere around here. Okay, yeah. So we were where it says, for without culture, okay, or holiness, okay, which are always the gift of a very few. Okay. So again, I'm sorry, I don't think I've completed what I was saying. So again, when you have your indigenous people come in and learn everything from the original people, then they start to kill off the aborigines. And then again, when these people ended up being a little bit closer still to the aborigines and they started to act out and see what was going on, they would slaughter them or get rid of them or kill them off by law. And then they would bring in the natives. And then after they were done with the natives and use them in order to attack the aborigines and kill them and skin them, and some of these people were so-called cannibals. Um, and they helped enslaved, and they even come in our group a lot and say how they helped kill us and these natives. Some of these groups, again, I can't say it for all, but again, some of these groups come in and laugh at the fact that we're saying that we're native, but no one's ever saying we're native. We're saying that we are the original and that you are native. So you can keep that term, again, because we know better. Okay. So okay. So anyhow, a man may renounce wealth, okay, or any other external thing, but he cannot renounce hatred, envy, jealousy, and revenge. Culture is the sanctity of the intellect, okay, and this is by William Butler Yeats. um, Slang, culture, vulture. And again, this is another thing that natives, some of these native groups like to say, and other groups like to say, that we're so-called culture vultures. Okay. Again, when it came to what I thought that culture was for, I could see why they might think that, but then they were still misinformed, because they are the ones that are actually the culture vultures, because our customs and things were given to these other groups of people and stripped away from you. And again, remember, you so-called Negroes, you're the only ones that have had everything that was original to you stripped from you. They didn't even do this in Africa. And also remember that they were already over here in the 1400s trying to actually colonize or get somewhere with that in the 1600s, when they were already over there by so-called Africa, and it's supposed to be the richest continent. Why would you skip Africa and steal all the people and bring them over to America? And then we still have what we call some form of a mixing pot going on here, where everyone from somewhere wants to be here, because again, they're going to be treated in a elevated status, okay, in order to climb above, okay, the so-called American Aborigine, who doesn't know who he is. But a lot of these people do know who you are, okay, and they get so angry about this when you bring it up, because again, they know you're coming for yours. Okay. Okay. So we're going to be able to lift up that skirt and see what's been going on underneath it. Okay. So again, Revelations is about an unveiling, or something being revealed, not necessarily the end of the world. It may be the end of the world for some people if they don't get their shit together and understand what's really been going on. And it might be some end for another group of people when it comes to power, because everything will be shown and everything will be revealed. Okay. So, Culture Vulture 1, ferocious or voracious, for culture. It's from 1947. Culture shock, disorientation experience with a person. When a person moves to a different cultural environment, or an unfamiliar way of life. And I think a lot of these people had that when they came to the Americas. And this is why some of our people or some of their people mixed with our people, which would be indigenous or native, had to show them the way. Again, because we never would. But once they had taken and replenished or refreshed or flooded or, cultivated your offspring, they used them to turn against you. Okay. And again, once they were done with all these groups, they dismissed them. Even the so-called white people that are here today are misinformed and unaware. Okay. So let's see. Culture. Okay. So, that's funny that someone would name their child that. Now knowing what it actually means. Someone in the industry that is used to also continue to till and disrupt your energy and your flow, and keep us in a low vibrating status. Okay. So again, they can eliminate you from things of the world like wealth and riches, but they could never take away that consciousness all the way. They have to keep you subdued. They have to keep you in a certain state of mind in order to continue doing this. And when you give up their ghost and when you give up their God and you start to tap in to what is within, then you'll see that there ain't nobody more powerful than you. So, I'm sorry, I can't really, what does it say? Cultura, a cultivating agriculture, care, culture, and honoring. And again, and this is why they bring a lot of these natives into the White House every year and give them these medals of whatever, to keep them to hold the secret. And again, it's obvious that a lot of these so-called natives are still struggling to thrive, even though they're on their own reservations and have somewhat control over themselves. Some of these people still cannot thrive or change anything that has been done because, again, they cannot do that because of many books. When I go, the older further back I go, we're starting to see that the land was actually taken from the Aboriginals, not the Native Americans, because again, Native wasn't even a term that was really used for these groups until the 1970s. Okay. So let's see, mid 15th century, the tilling of the land, act of preparing the earth for crops. So again, this is all, they had to break you down all the way down to the ground in order to invite the crops in and plant them on top of you. That's it. The story of Genesis is, it's never going to change in my eyes. It is the story of their creation on top of a prior nation or group of people. Okay. So let's see. A particular society at a particular time and place. Again, and okay, sorry. This is what I say a lot about the Bible. You have to be thorough as to who we're talking about in these chapters, because a lot of times none of this has anything to do with you or your family or anything unless you know for a fact that you're tied to one of these families or these groups. You can't include yourself. Even some so-called people that are living creatures, these are the ones that God blew the breath into so that they can thrive and grow and multiply on top of you. So again, even when it comes to some of those groups, they can't include themselves because it'll be talking about a particular people at a particular time in a particular situation a lot of times. And then these pastors will use that line and then they'll go somewhere else and grab something else from the Bible, when again, it could be the same person. He could be talking to the same group of people, but it could be a different generation. It could be, things like this. Okay. So you can't just mix and match because you want to. Okay. To make it sound right. And I've done one on sermon. I don't even think I put it up yet because I need to still edit it. And it just talks about the fact that a sermon is just a lie. You can look it up yourself if you're interested in etymology. Okay. Culture, the taste in art and manners that are favored by a social group. All the knowledge and values shared by a society. Again, yeah, because we shared some of our stuff with some of these groups. And again, this is how we ended up losing. And this is again why every time you come up and build something of your own, they tear it down or burn it down, because again, the one thing is they cannot let you obtain any type of wealth on your own land. And this is why they use a lot of people that are foreign, that look like us, that we think are us, when we're talking celebrities, news anchors, and things like this, or some of these people that are inciting some of these psyops and things like that, on your television. A lot of these people are foreign entities. Again, same way they use foreigners when they came over here on ships from their beginning, that looked like you and may have even been in connection with you and knew how to speak with you, and they use these very people to lead them right over here. And they also planted them in your neighborhoods, the ones that look like you now. Okay, so it's hard to discern who they really are until you see their works, and it may be too late. Okay, so again, like these rappers and people like this, a lot of these people, some of these people, okay, now I'm not going to say all of them. I do think there are some that are organic, but then there are some GMO so-called black folks that just ain't original. We share a certain spirit, okay? And I just think that a lot of these people don't have it, especially the low vibrating ones that continue to push that crap on our people, and then we unknowingly call it our culture. And it's ridiculous because it's harmful to the people. And if you can't see that by now, then you're part of the problem. Culture, biology, the growing of microorganisms in a nutrient medium, let's see, such as gelatin or agar. I thought I just ran into, we'll get on later. A highly developed state of perfection, having a flawless or impeccable quality, almost an inspiration which gives to all work that finished, which is almost art. Joseph Conrad said that, I guess. The attitude and behavior that are characteristics of a particular social group or organization. Okay, here's another one, the raising of plants and animals. Again, that is begetting or whatnot. And again, these people are important for the abode of God. In that way, they are given gifts to a certain extent. You are not, and this is why your culture, or so-called culture, okay, this is why you haven't been able to have any of those gifts. The gifts that they gave you were rotten and useless in, like entertainment and music, the music of today and all these other things. It's garbage, okay? Again, you're the only ones in the world that can go on national television and sing songs, and we listen to these things in our households and we share them with our children that talk so horribly about our people, but you think that we should get change. And then you have these people that have been playing the music for you for so many years, over and over again, that are on these radio stations, and now talking about like they're concerned with so-called black lives. They're just puppets. They're doing their job. Whatever way the God-fearing forces tell them to go, that's the way that they're going to go and bend in order to, again, it's all about you. So this is all an act. Everyone has a part to play. The world is a stage in order to deceive the original people, while they extract everything from you on a spiritual, physical level. Okay, so I thought this one was pretty interesting here. Revolve, move. Oh, no. Agriculture, tillage, cultivation of a large area of land to provide food. So what we were saying in Genesis about, and they shall be for food, which is also maybe consumption in some kind of way. Could be something very horrid. And it also could just be, vampire suckers, energy suckers, people that are just stealing your resources, your land, and your vigor or vicar. Okay. So again, let's look at this one down here that I wanted to look at. Cultured. Yeah, I think that's the one. 1743. Okay, specifically. So it's very important that we go back and look at some of these things that was going on in that time, because it may be pertaining to you. They may use different terms to try to throw you off, but again, of land, etc. Cultivated, adjective from culture, meaning developed under. See? Remember the caste system? Under, controlled, natural condition or state, right? Is from 1906, originally of pearls, meaning refined, improved by exposure to intellectual culture. Just saying. Just saying. 1777. It's funny how 1775, 1776, and 1777 are very important dates or years for some of these groups that came in and gained some form of independence or something in your honor. Okay. After defeating you. Okay. Culture marked by refinement or replenishing, like God said to do in Genesis, in taste and manners. So anybody that's saying that somebody sinned or something and this is what, no, you didn't. You didn't. Unless sinning is just minding your own damn business and not wanting to deal with other people coming into your land because you knew what they were going to do and what they were capable of doing. And God didn't want you to keep him off and his children off of your land. He wanted you to let them in to integrate. Okay, same thing with integration. One of the worst things that we ever fell for from these people. They used one of our so-called greats or leaders in order to push it through to a certain extent. And then when he started to wake up and see what was going on and say that he was maybe leading us into a burning building and that we were already here before the pilgrims landed and all this stuff, then they had to get rid of him. Okay, so again, yeah. So you've already been convinced that you can go and sit down at a countertop and eat a burger. But again, like someone said, you didn't even have no money to get the damn burger. So why did it even matter? You see, so a lot of times they'll give it to you as something like it's a forbidden fruit or something, and then we bite and we start begging for these things, and then once we get them we see that it wasn't really what they said it was, and it's something that's going to actually lead you further into destitute. Okay, again, be careful what you're asking for at this point in time, because I haven't heard anything that would be all around beneficial come out of these people's mouths about any of this stuff. But again, they caused the situation. Okay, and now they're going to act like they're going to come in and save us from the situation. And they're just going to lead us down a further path of destruction. Again, like I said, unless it's up to us as to how far it's going to go. But we do need everybody to wake up, really. And that means us, but it means other people around us too. Again, because it's going to take unity with people that you didn't think you ever wanted to unite with, that you think are a part of the problem, but really aren't, because they have no power, just like you, at the end to clear all of this up. It's just the way that it's going to be. Okay. So again, let's see what else we have here. I don't know if we already did this one. Yeah, I think we did. Yeah. Okay. So again, we can talk about what happened on the 6th day. God gave life. See, this is him giving the breath of life in order to make them a living soul. Okay. To all the beasts. Okay. And the creeping things. That's something that comes in real smooth and sneaky and comes in and consumes something to a certain extent. So again, that's a really good one to look at. The creeping things in etymology, to see how and again, have you ever seen like a coat of arms with the armored helmet on it, and it has all these little things of like vines or ivy coming and flowing from it? That would be representing that creeping thing. Okay. So let's see. Creeping thing and livestock. Okay, again, that which is being possibly traded on the stock market, because we all have birth certificates and social security numbers that exist on dry land. Okay, so this is livestock that exist on dry land, land that was not flooded. Okay. Okay. So again, so-called probably black lives. I don't know. He also made man. Again, man is supposed to have control over a lot of this stuff. Okay, so we have to really figure out who man is. Okay, it's kind of tricky because it seems like it goes back and forth, but hey, who was created in the image of God Himself? Okay, see, okay, and was given authority over the rest of the creatures, kind of like a president, right? Okay, just saying, or governors. I think they represent some form of kings in the word to these people. Okay. Um, so let's see. The word used here is dominion. Okay. Which in Hebrew is uh, rada or rada. I don't know. A word that indicates subjugation. So again, you'll be their subjects. Okay. And this is when they will reign on you with the REIGN. Okay. Because again, wouldn't subjugate be something like subduing? Okay. Man was to be the ruler. So he was to be the ruler of nature. That would be what would be natural, I'm thinking. But by no means an unkind or cruel ruler. Okay. So again, they weren't supposed to be cruel. Okay. There is every indication that his relationship with the animals, okay, these are his children that have been planted on the earth, and their relationship with one other, would that be the plants? Just, just wondering. Was entirely peaceful. Okay, God gave the plants to man. Okay, this is what kind of I was talking about. So God gave the plants, okay, which means the offspring, indigenous people, native people, and all the other people, okay, to man and the animals for food. Okay, there was no killing, nor was there any predatory uh, instinct. Okay, and he saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was good. And there was evening and morning on the sixth day. So again, that's talking about those groups of people that are in the Sudra, in the caste system. Still, I don't think it's talking about you. Okay, so again, thanks for listening, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to do those couple of things I always ask if you would like. And I'll see you guys soon.